project today. I've got some 9-gauge galvanized wire, bracing wire. I've got a roll of plastic and a metal trash can. But what can I do with this? Oh, I got one more thing. Linesman pliers. Gotta have the linesman pliers. My wife gave these to me for my birthday. No, wait, for Christmas. Funny story. I'd mentioned to her that I would like to have a pair. Not that I really needed a pair, but that I would like to have a pair because, I mean, every man needs a good pair of pliers. And she was so proud of herself when she got them for me. I love it. I'm not the type of guy to want toys for presents. I like practical gifts. Okay, so anyway, yeah, what are we going to do with all this good stuff we got here? We are going to try to build my own little poly low tunnel setup. We normally here, where I'm at anyway, in Southeast Texas, we normally get our last risk of frost or freeze, at least from what I've seen, late February. Mid to late February, we'll get down to where it'll get a chance of a freeze overnight or whatever. So I thought that had come and gone because it's March 3rd today. So a few days ago, I planted some tomato plants in the garden. And now the weather calls for the next 2 days, it's gonna get down to below freezing. So I'm gonna try to build some little poly low tunnels. Now so I've got this 9-gauge wire. It's sold at Tractor Supply. They sell it as a utility bracing wire, I think. And I looked at these other poly low tunnel systems and I was trying to figure out what size wire they were, and some of them had it in inches or whatever. And finally, courtesy of someone on a Facebook group, they said, oh, if you're wanting to build wire hoops, why don't you just get these? And it was a link to FarmTech, which I like to look at a lot of stuff through FarmTech. And FarmTech said right there, pack of 100 made from 9-gauge wire. So that made me feel a little better about buying the 9-gauge wire. I was actually considering buying something slightly smaller, just because I wasn't sure what size it needed to be. Okay, so anyway, yeah, so FarmTech says 9-gauge wire, easy enough. So I doubled back to Tractor Supply and searched for it on their website, and sure enough, there it was right there. It wasn't listed, if I recall, it wasn't listed with the other fencing wire necessarily. Anyway, someone else mentioned, good luck when you cut the wires on the spool because this stuff's gonna go everywhere. So you better have a containment system ready. Which I don't necessarily. I'm trying to think. I mean, it's a pretty stiff wire. I'm really not sure that it's going to explode everywhere, but I'm scared that it might. So I'm going to try to find some clamps or something, some way that I can hold this wire while I take what I need off of it. Let me see what I can find real quick. Maybe for some pipe clamps or something. Okay, I'm not sure that these are going to be any better, but I've got a couple of just real cheapo woodworking clamps. And we're just going to throw them on here just as something to kind of hang on to it, just so it doesn't explode and go all over the place. All right, let's see what happens when we take this first tie wire off here. Well, I don't think they used aluminum tie wire, so can't be that aggressive. Oh, 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 oh. She's slipping. At least a little bit. This stuff is pretty stiff. It does appear that it is willing to explode. This is going to be the scary part. You know, honestly, I could probably just let her fly, cut the wires and just kind of throw it and run, and then clean up the mess. I wasn't necessarily planning on making the entire roll into hoops today. Yep, there it wants to go. That's no joke. All right, so managed to get some of it unspooled here without killing myself so far. So now I'm going to try to actually cut a length off that I need. This might actually be the harder part, I don't know. trying to get this stuff roughly straight. And I can tell you already, that's not that easy. So I've got my little board here marked as a scale. And I'm making a 4-foot total length. I've got a mark here. There she goes like a big slinky. Okay, so now we'll see if our trash can idea works here. The trash can is only a 20-inch diameter. I was looking for something about 24, but I think the only other thing I have is a steel barrel, which is like 22, and I just don't feel like walking all this out to the fuel barrels to do. But this might actually work. What I'm going to try to do, use the handle here as a hook, and then just wrap around the outside of the trash can to get it bent. And yeah, it's not working worth crap. You know, there's that. Not great. I maybe actually need to wrap it around something smaller, or I'm just going to have to bend it myself. This probably looks just to be as likely. Wow, yeah, that's really depressing. You know, you got these big plans on how good it's going to go, and then it just doesn't. So, anyway, you guys that are researching poly-low tunnels to watch this video probably know what they are. That's the idea. Take it out, shove it in the dirt. It's not real strong and structural, but we're going to run a row of these hoops down over the tomato garden, or the tomato plants. I'm going to tie from one to the next. I'm going to tie a string along the top to keep them from wanting to rack back and forth, and put a stake in the ground at either end to kind of hold tension so they're all one big piece. I think that'll help a lot, because a lot of people say, oh, well, you know, you get any sort of wind or rain, they collapse, and I can see how they would. So if we tie both ends and stretch them tight to each other, hopefully they won't collapse. So, not pretty, but I think it'll work. So I'm going to cut off, I don't know, a dozen more of these or whatever, and then we'll go start sticking them in the ground. You guys ever heard the term, metal has a memory? It's very true. In this case, this wire was coiled up really, really tight, and it wants to stay that way. Which is part of why it wants to explode and make a mess. But what I figured out I could do was I tied it off. Slightly big pair of cutters with help. Anyway, I tied it off to the door of the Connex box right over here. Just wrapped it around one of those bracing rods. And then I walked out the whole piece that I'd cut across the driveway. And as I did, I stretched it straighter because it wanted to stay in really tight coils. So I stretched it straighter and straighter as I went, and actually twisted it the opposite direction of what the coils wanted to do. And in doing that, you kind of erase that memory. And realistically, I'd have been money ahead for sure, time ahead, no doubt, to just buy the 100-pack from FarmTech. The reason I did not was because I needed them now. I just found them on FarmTech yesterday, or today's Sunday. Found them on FarmTech Friday, and I got to leave town tomorrow, Monday. So I knew there was no way that I would get them in the mail and established, set up in the garden before I left. So I've got to get all this set up, taken care of before I leave, because I can't expect my wife to have to deal with this when she's got to deal with everything else while I'm gone. Okie doke. We're out in the garden now. And kind of tweak them a little bit more. shove them in the dirt. Not a whole lot to it. I'm gonna go one probably every other plant, I think. So about 2 foot spacing, give or take. We'll walk along here and lay them out where I want them anyway. If I get this first one rigged up like I'm hoping, I actually have more tomato plants I need to plant, but I might hold off on that. See, they're a little, they're a little short, which they're only on here just to get us through this little snap. Plants aren't going to grow that much in a day or two, but what I can do is I can make them narrower and taller. And actually the reason I like that is because that gets me more wire in the ground. Okay, so there's all the little hoops. You guys can even see them. All the little hoops are staked out here. Now we gotta go get our plastic. I've got a roll of, I think it's 4 or 5 feet by 50 feet, I think. And I was just gonna cut it in half, but what I just counted out there, this is about 25 feet, so I think cut in half will work. I'm gonna get a tape measure and actually measure the length of this, because I'd hate to cut that big roll of plastic in half and then have it be wrong. So let's go get our plastic. No dirt pancakes for me. Okay, so our roll here is 10 by 25, which, yeah, so I don't have to rip it. I have to rip it in half lengthwise, but I'm not having to cut it in half. It's not a, I thought it was a 5 by 50 for some reason. Same idea, same square footage, different dimension. Emerson, you gonna help me with this?
Yeah.
So we're gonna get this rolled out and then we're gonna rip it lengthwise down the 25-foot length. Ready, bud? Go down by the tractor. Go by the tractor. Take the far end of that, we can spread it out. You can help Emerson, Caroline. Grab one of Emerson, back up a little bit. Back up closer to the tractor. Shake it. Shake it. Get your loose corners and shake it. Get the corners. Get the corners. Find the loose corners.
I found one here. I got some money.
No, the loose corners. You got the folded corners.
My hand's on money. This one.
You're killing me, Smalls. There you go. Again. See, having 2 hands available should be helpful. This is just one. Caroline, you hold on to that. Emerson, you come with this. Caroline, you walk towards the Connex box. Emerson, you walk towards the box. Good. Stop. Stay. Don't let go. Don't let go. Don't let go. Keep held tight. Still don't let go. I gotta grab a few boards to put on it, okay? Let me get a few boards. Hold on to it. Don't let go, Caroline.
What is this for?
We're going to build little miniature greenhouses in there.
Are these for greenhouses?
Yeah.
What?
Yours. You can let go of yours. Thank you very much. Good job, Hunters. Alright, so let's see if there's a center line. Emerson, is there a halfway point? Caroline, can you hold that? And put it right down on the edge of the plastic. Good. So where is 5 feet? 5 feet is just to the right of this main center point. Okay, good, thank you.
I got it on mine. My hand's on money.
Yeah.
Did I get on money? Don't have this part.
fell down?
Why do you gotta cut it? No, Daddy, why do you have to cut it?
Because we got to cut it in half to make 2 of these hoops, honey. Okay. We got her cut there. Now, let's take one piece out to the garden and see if we can't get it installed on the hoops. This is the trick. All right, let's see if we can make any sense of this mess. Well, let's hope that we don't get a freeze while we're doing it. So I imagine that's exactly what will happen. It's somehow windier out here than it is by the Connex box.
Daddy, I want it. What? I found some flowers.
You did?
Yeah.
Good. Are they pretty flowers?
Can I take them off? My hand, somebody. I don't know what my hand. I found some flowers. I found some
Oh, yeah. This is gonna work all right. And this is really where standardizing your garden is important, which I did not standardize anything yet. I've been trying to plan it out and think about it. But
I like it.
I've got a couple extra feet on this end right here in front of the camera. I need to go to the other end and pull those out just a little bit more.
A little bit.
Wow, that's cool. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to tie the tops of the hoops together like I said I was going to do. So let's weigh this down so it doesn't blow away. It's a good thing I got y'all keeping me honest. Let me go get some string and some stakes. Okay, so I just got these little scraps. This is actually not 9-gauge wire. This is actually cut off from a cattle panel, which, I mean, based on these hoop sizes, the cattle panel's like, I don't know, 6-gauge or something. Excuse me, Emerson. Watch out, bud. Go over there. So we're going to shove this in the ground right here, nice and deep and kind of at an angle opposite of the direction to pull. And then we're going to find the loose end of our string here, which is actually a loop, so I tied a loop in it. I've got 2 scraps of string I'm going to put together to make this work.
Yay!
But now as I go along,
Dad, will we get the watch out and show you what the watch today?
yeah, maybe. So as we go along here, this is not, again, this is not ideal situation. I should have a little loop here in the top of the hoop, but I don't. But you guys can't see it, I can feel it. So I start pulling on this string with my left hand over here. It wants to pull, you know, this hoop, and then it wants to pull against the string there. So I'm just kind of, as I work along, I'm just kind of trying to keep it tight.
It's tight, Dad.
Good and tight?
Yeah.
Good, buddy. Thank you for checking. We're tied out. And I don't really think I'm gonna seal the ends, because really what I'm just trying to keep is from frost settling on the plants. Let me see what I can do about trying to seal the ends up a little bit. We'll throw some rocks on it here, and then we'll work down the edge. I've got all these boards, I might as well use them. Well, I think we timed that just right. Just the wind came up right now. Yeah, I think that'll do fine. Always cautiously optimistic. But we'll see how she does. I'm trying to set it up, you know, for a quick and easy setup, and also quick and easy tear down. So Supposed to get down 29 to 30 the next 2 nights, which again, it's about as cold as we ever get. So that's our chance of a frost, freeze, whatever. This is the only thing that I've got in the ground that's not cold hardy. There's potatoes. You guys probably can't see the potatoes. Maybe I can get you in close on them. Whoops. Yeah, looky there. Here's some potatoes coming up. Blue potatoes, super excited about that. Oh, here's some stinging nettle that hurts like Hades when you go to pull it. You gotta wear leather gloves for that. Anyway, so the potatoes, they're cold resilient, if you will. The leaves might get burned a little bit by a frost, but they'll come back just fine. The tomatoes and the peppers, like I said, are the only thing I'm worried about really getting totally burned. So those are what I wanted to protect today. I'm trying to decide, there's 14 or 15 in the ground here. I gotta count what's up with the house. I'm trying to decide if I want to plant the others today or just try to leave them for 2 more weeks and then put them in the ground when I get home. If I plant them today, that means I've also got to cover them. So let me think about that. But anyway, that's it for this one. It ain't pretty, it ain't perfect, but I do believe it'll work. But this is working. And I don't think it really is going to take much. This makes all the world of difference, really, just tying them together. If you look at how standard, low tunnel or caterpillar tunnel kits are made, they have a main string like this that runs along the top. For the exact same reason, obviously.
It's tight there.
Good and tight?
Yeah.
Good, buddy. Thank you for checking.
I can't even pull it.
This is just standard baling twine. I don't remember what it's actually made out of. It's not the poly twine. So this twine will actually stretch and sag over time.
Oh,
that's okay.
Oh
yeah, that's good. Emerson, stop it. You know what you're doing. Please move out of the camera. Step to your left.
This way.
Now we're just going to tie it off on this far end. Tie me another little loop in it. Somehow make some sort of crazy knot. I haven't cut it yet. I'm trying to keep tension held on the whole loop. Which I just failed to do. It ain't great. It's a lot better than it was. I'll have to think about that for a while and how I can improve that part of it.
Dad, I love you.
Love you too, buddy. I got a little better.
I can almost cry.
Kind of re-stretched it. Doesn't help that I'm trying to set a stake into ground that is really, really soft. It's that hilled up cow manure. Okay, so now we're tied out. And I don't really think I'm gonna seal the ends, because really what I'm just trying to keep is from frost settling on the plants. Let me see what I can do about trying to seal the ends up a little bit. We'll throw some rocks on it here, and then we'll work down the edge. I've got all these boards, I might as well use them. You know, that's not a perfect seal, but it's a lot better than nothing. that board on the edge there. And of course I've got no shortage of these sawmill slabs, so one on there, and this one on here. This far end of the plastic is a little bit shorter, so I'm going to take my rock up. The rock's right here on either side of the string. And I've got to grab a few more slabs to slab this other side. Well, I think we timed that just right. Gust of wind came up right now. Yeah, I think that'll do fine. Always cautiously optimistic. Well, we'll see how she does. I'm trying to set it up, you know, for a quick and easy setup, and also quick and easy tear down. So supposed to get down 29 to 30 the next 2 nights, which again, it's about as cold as we ever get. So that's our chance of a frost, freeze, whatever. This is the only thing that I've got in the ground that's not cold hardy. There's potatoes. You guys probably can't see the potatoes. Maybe I can get you in close on them. Whoops. Yeah, looky there. Here's some potatoes coming up. Blue potatoes, super excited about that. Oh, here's some stinging nettle that hurts like Hades when you go to pull it. You gotta wear leather gloves for that. Anyway, so the potatoes, they're cold resilient, if you will. The leaves might get burned a little bit by a frost, but they'll come back just fine. The tomatoes and the peppers, like I said, are the only thing I'm worried about really getting totally burned. So those are what I wanted to protect today. I'm trying to decide. There's 14 or 15 in the ground here. I gotta count what's up with the house. I'm trying to decide if I want to plant the others today or just try to leave them for 2 more weeks and then put them in the ground when I get home. If I plant them today, that means I've also got to cover them. So let me think about that. But anyway, that's it for this one. It ain't pretty, it ain't perfect, but I do believe it'll work.